Hello, everyone. My name is Magda, and this is episode of Just Where to Start. This episode is for the feminine woman or anyone whose dominant core energy is feminine. Because when a feminine lives in alignment with her truth, everything softens. Your nervous system settles, your glow returns, life feels lighter, deeper, more honest. But the moment you step into masculine energy to protect yourself, polarity collapses and connection with a masculine begins to unravel. Today, I want to take you into a real story from my own life to show you how quickly polarity can shift and how fast it can recalibrate when you return to your feminine center. In this episode, we'll be exploring why the feminine feels unsafe when a man is unclear, inconsistent, or indecisive, how your internal masculine and feminine work together to regulate you, how conflict shifts when you stay in your feminine instead of going masculine, how your feminine softness calms his nervous system, and how his grounded masculine presence stabilizes yours. And the last but not least, why staying sovereign, soft, and rooted in yourself is the most powerful position you can take. This is a story of polarity, emotional intelligence, self protection, and the unexpected places feminine softness can take you. Okay, so recently I pulled back from a man I cared about. Not to test him, not to play a game, not to show him. I pulled back because I needed to protect myself. I felt he couldn't give me more. I didn't want to stay in something undefined. So I decided to set myself free. And honestly, I expected him to just let me go. In my mind, I thought he would shrug internally and think, all right, one less complication of my list. Yeah. I truly believed pulling back would simply close the door of uncertainty that was starting to feel heavy for me. It felt like the cleanest way to protect myself, to stop hoping for more, to stop living in a space that wasn't defined. I didn't give a long explanation. I didn't open a discussion. I didn't try to negotiate clarity. I just pulled back my energy, but I did it in a way that was very masculine, direct, decisive, and final. And I honestly forgot something important, how masculine men react when a woman closes and when she steps into her masculine. I didn't withdraw to provoke him or test him. I withdrew because I thought it would bring me closure. I didn't expect it to awaken a reaction in him, a reaction I didn't see coming. But that's not what happened. When I pulled back, he reacted, not with vulnerability, not with openness, but with ego, with accusations, with tension. His first messages were logical, but fishing for attention. Then came ones from a wounded place. And me, instead of matching that energy, I decided to pause. I asked myself a question: what is underneath those words? This is how I used my masculine resources inside of me to go back into my feminine, to create the structure for my feminine energy. But I will explain that later in details. I didn't shoot back at him. I didn't escalate. I didn't go into my masculine defense. I reached out to clear the situation. We ended up having a conversation, heated at times, yes, but respectful, honest, real, direct, like two people trying, despite their wounds, to speak their truth. He shared what he liked, he shared what he didn't like. He let me know in his own way that my pulling back has affected him. And I, without collapsing or attacking, spoke my truth calmly, softly, clearly. I stood in my feminine sovereignty and said what I had been giving, what I needed, what I could no longer accept. And then everything shifted. Me standing in my feminine brought him back to his center, to grounded him in his mature masculine. When I didn't fight back, when I didn't fight him back, when I didn't match his fire, when I stayed soft, grounded, and feminine, something shifted in him too. He no longer wanted to win the argument. He wanted to protect the connection. He became more intentional, calmer, clearer, as if my softness awakened his instinct to guard rather than fight. That's what grounded masculine does in the presence of feminine power. It stops attacking and starts protecting. My softness didn't make him stronger against me, it made him stronger for me. His masculine presence became more stable. My feminine energy relaxed into softness. He became more peaceful and grounded, and I could feel my whole body soften, not in a relief, but in a deep, calm openness, as if I were coming back to myself. So, here are the lessons woven from this experience that I would love to share because I had this enlightening moment. So, number one, feminine energy thrives in the presence of masculine structure, and masculine energy becomes stronger, more grounded, more intentional, and naturally protective when met with feminine softness and openness. Whether that structure comes from within you or from a man, your feminine softens when she feels held. So, circling back to my example, when a man is emotional but still present, not exploding, not withdrawing, something shifts. He might start heated, reactive, accusational because his ego is wounded. But if he still stays in the conversation, he stays engaged, he's telling the truth, not throwing tantrums, and then your feminine energy meets him, you will notice a shift. When you respond to um, even this at the beginning accusational tone with softness, with openness, grounded in your feminine center, you don't escalate, you don't collapse, you don't fight him like another man. Your feminine softness lands and it is felt by him. It disarms him. That's what grounded masculine does in the presence of feminine power. It stops attacking and starts protecting. Feminine softness doesn't make him stronger against it, it makes him stronger for protecting feminine. As masculine becomes more peaceful and grounded, feminine softens even more in the feeling of a relief, as now she can go back to being herself in her true essence, and she can also leave her own masculine resources on the side, which gives that sense of relief. This is how the energies recalibrate one another. Second important lesson is when he is uncertain or indecisive and it makes you feel unsafe, your job is to stay grounded even more in your feminine, not go to masculine mode. And it might feel very counterintuitive. Let me explain in more details. The feminine feels unsafe when a man is inconsistent, unclear, indecisive, reactive, emotionally volatile, withdrawn, not grounding the connection. His uncertainty, inconsistency, indecision, all that triggers something deep in a woman's feminine nervous system. It's the lack of masculine stability that creates feminine unsafety. And just as a side note, there is a certain phase of that every man goes through. It is, I think, wrongfully called the midlife crisis. I like better description men in a tunnel when they shift from become being a prince to king. It's a very painful, uncertain period of time that they are in. And but let me know if you're interested. I think that's the topic for different episodes. So let me just mention that even the very masculine men go through phases of uncertainty, and it is painful experience for them as they don't like it. They don't go with the flow. They are stable. Anyways, going back, circling back to our so the moment you're feminine, you as a feminine, when you feel unsafe, your instinct is to compensate. You feel urged to explain, to argue, to correct, to take over, to demand clarity, to push him into leadership, or you take the leadership and you just take an action. This urge isn't neediness, it's your feminine trying to find safety. But if you follow that instinct immediately, it's something's gonna it's gonna go wrong because that makes you go straight into your masculine mode. So, if you go straight into your masculine mode, you take charge, you correct him, you lead the conversation, you push to clarity, you try to fix the dynamics. Mm. All of the sudden, both of you sit in the masculine energy and you start clashing, competing, defending. It's a full blown fight and it can get nasty because now he fights you as the other man, and you're not masculine at core. Let's remember that. So it's gonna go only bad because he becomes defensive. You feel unseen. He pulls away. You get sharper. He gets reactive. You escalate, and we have this masculine versus masculine collision. It's a battlefield. It's like a full blown mode. And the things get sharp, cold, disconnected, not because either of you is wrong, it's because the polarity collapses. His uncertainty triggers your unsafe feminine, pushes you into masculine, triggers his ego, polarity collapses. So, how to deal with it? You're going to ask me, okay, so how to move through it in the feminine way? Well, step number one is to ground yourself. When you cannot count on that, when your man cannot at the moment because he's unable to provide for you that masculine container because of the multiple reasons, it's not his bad will. Sometimes he just cannot. You can use your internal masculine to hold you. Because we have all of us, we have our masculine and feminine energy. It's like inside of us, it's also a balance of it. So you ground yourself through your internal masculine, but you don't do it for fight. You don't do it as a force. It's not about controlling him, forcing him. Use your internal masculine to create the clarity, boundary, self-respect, slowing down, protection without hardness, and structure without aggression. So you use those qualities of your internal masculine. It sounds something like, what am I feeling right now? Like, what is actually true? What do I need? Where is my boundary? This is this part when you take your energy back to yourself and you focus on what's happening inside of you, asking all those questions. You give yourself the sense of certainty, stability. Your internal masculine now holds the emotional frame, so your feminine doesn't drown. You do not collapse, you do not attack, you simply return safely to yourself. And then in step number two, that's when, uh, after doing that part, creating a frame and a structure for yourself, you now invite your feminine softness in and openness. You ground yourself internally and you reconnect with your feminine through your body, because being present in your body is what makes you reconnect. So, how can it look like? Breathing deeply, meditation, softening your shoulders, um, dancing, putting music on. I understand when you're like heated situation, hurtful situation, you might not feel like dancing, but try. Like I meditate, I then scan my body. It's like I feel I when I answer these logical questions, then I try to feel them in my body. How does it make me feel? How this situation and what actually triggered me to pull back? Like where do I feel it? Being honest with your sensation, letting emotion move through you without collapsing into them. And from that place, your truth emerges naturally without sharp edges. You're not attacking. You don't feel like you're competing. You're not trying to dominate the dynamic. You are simply soft, centered, open, rooted, present, and honest. Your energy becomes grounded feminine truth, not emotional chaos or masculine force. This is the feminine strength, the softness with a spine, openness with the boundaries, clarity without aggression, truth without fear, emotion without collapse. And this is what shifts a masculine man. This is the energy that makes him drop his defenses, regulate his nervous system, soften, become present, move out of ego, step back into his masculine, exactly like it happened to me. Like I said, and then when he steps into his masculine, he becomes protective. And I could feel it in our argument. The core truth of lesson number two is like his uncertainty will trigger feminine unsafety, but your job is to stay grounded without going masculine. This keeps the polarity intact and invites him back into his masculine. Number three, pulling back with sovereignty is healthy. Pulling back with ego is destructive. Your intention matters more than your action. So, yes, you can answer the questions, feel the boundary, and say, okay, I don't even want to talk about it. This is like done deal for me. You have a right for your decisions, but make sure that you are operating from that level of kindness and sovereignty. Like you're setting up healthy boundaries for yourself with feminine softness. Because now you're going to number four, and this is the big one. Softness is not weakness, it's your energetic strength. It diffuses conflict faster than the logic or arguments ever will. So say soft. This is your feminine superpower. And when you feel off, return to your sovereign feminine. That's number five. Have your own life, have your own rhythm, stay rooted in yourself. Like, feel your body. This keeps you from collapsing or over functioning. And number six, very obvious one, masculine men are drawn to feminine women, and feminine women soften in the presence of grounded masculine. This is natural polarity. This is not performance. This is how it works. We attract, it's like magnets, like the plus with minus, like masculine, feminine, they connect. And number seven, pay attention to the emotional quality of his reactions. Is he temporarily overwhelmed and speaking from a wound, or is he chronically destructive? Your intuition always knows the difference, because what if you step into the argument and you are being soft and somebody just his destruction escalates instead of calming him down? You will know that you're not dealing with a masculine man who's becoming more grounded by your feminine softness. You will feel that this is off, and then there will be the time for you to set up a healthy boundary for yourself. Okay, thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for letting me share this moment of truth. Um, I hope it will help you. to create long lasting, fulfilling relationships. If you're navigating polarity, emotional protection, self sovereignty, or learning how to stay in your feminine in the moments of intensity, you are not alone. You can always DM me. You can follow me on my social media and ask for being put on a wait list to my upcoming workshops. And remember, choose yourself, choose your feminine, choose your center, stay kind, open, and soft. When you return to yourself, I promise everything else begins to align. Take care and see you next time.